Hare Srinivasa, wishing you all a very happy Yugadi. Thank you for taking this time, and I'm sure this will be a very interesting session today. I'm pleased to introduce Sunder Madaakshira, who is the founder of Ataha Madhwacharya for Youth in Bangalore, and he's the disciple of Dr. Vyasankara Prabhanjanacharya, and he's been delivering lots of discourses across the country and outside of India. And we are very delighted and lucky to have him amidst us. And he has kindly agreed to deliver this very special discourse on Vishnu Sahasranama, which most of us are recite that on a day-to-day basis. And we also do that at our Raghavendra Swamy Mata on every Saturdays. And when I approached Sundar to request him to deliver this, he was extremely supportive. And we have been working, myself, Pranav, and Sundar, we have been working on this discourses for the last 3-4 weeks to make this happen. And we are very grateful to Sundar. And I'll let Sundar introduce himself and also start the discourse. It will be delivered in English, and the main discourses will be for approximately 45 minutes. And then towards the end, last 10-15 minutes, we'll have some Q&As which you may want to ask. On that note, I will hand over to Sundar. And thank you, Sundar, once again. And we look forward to your sessions.
Yeah, ಎಲ್ರಿಗೂ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. very very happy Yugadi to all of you, and I'm very delighted that you have chosen this day to have this session. There is a very close connection between the topic of Yugadi and Vishnu Sahasranama itself. Before I get into the real crux of what we are here to discuss, I think it has a very special significance. One of the names of Lord Vishnu that we see in Vishnu Sahasranama is Yugadikrit. Yugadikrit Yugavarto Naikamayo Mahashanaha, it says. That means he is the one who creates Yugadi. Right? For, let us say, a marriage anniversary to happen, two people have to get married. So they are the people who create that occasion for us. So similarly, the person who creates Yugadi, that means the start of Yuga, is none other than Lord Vishnu. And one of his names, therefore, is Yugadikrit. So when we celebrate Yugadi, the one and only person we need to remember is Lord Vishnu, because it's because of him that we all even came into existence. So Yugadikrit. And we all know this year or this Samvatsara is called Vishwavasu. So it is, if you can split it as Vishwa and Vasu, both are of these names, as we all know, are part of the Vishnu Sahasranama. So one name is Vishwa, Vishvam Vishnu Vashatkaro, that's how it starts. And the second one is Vasu, Vasur Vasamana Satya Samatma Sambhita Samaha. So if you see this, the topic of Yugadikrit and Vishnu Sahasranama and the Yugadi, the festival, are very, very close. It is on this day that Lord Brahma had started the process of creation. So he began his task of creation. He created all the gods after him in the hierarchy and assigned their respective duties to them so that they can perform and they can take forward the whole job of creation along with him. So that's a very brief background to Yugadikrit and the festival of Yugadi. So with that, let us get started. I have prepared I think you need to let me as a presenter.
Yeah, I've just done it, Sundar.
All right. Thank you. Can you see my screen right now?
Not yet, Sundar.
Can you see it now?
It says you need to double. Yes, we can.
Okay. So I've just used a presentation just to give a kind of a placeholder so that we cover all these topics. So big thanks to all of you to have joined this session. Today we are going to start off with this topic of Vishnu Sahasranama. As we were already introduced, I think Shri Vishnu Sahasranama will go down as one of the most commonly recited shlokas. One of the memories that I think all of us have of our childhood days since then is the recitation by Srimati M.S. Subbulakshmi of the Vishnu Sahasranama, and we've practically grown with that all around us. But what is it that makes Sri Vishnu Sahasranama so unique is something that one has to delve deep into to understand why this is so. So we will look at a little bit about the background to Sri Vishnu Sahasranama. We talk about the benefits that one gets because of the recitation of Vishnu Sahasranama. And the recitation, how does one recite? What are the different methodologies of recitation? And some of the unique features that are there of Sri Vishnu Sahasranama. Now, this, as we all know, is meant to be a 3-part series. So we will start with this today, and we will have 2 more sessions, one on next Sunday and the one after that as well. So that is the flow that has been imagined so far. We will roughly speak for about 35 minutes from now, and then we will take some question answers, and then we'll close today's session. So, the topic of Vishnu Sahasranama and its profundity can be understood only when one goes into the background of Sri Vishnu Sahasranama. If you look at the Indian scriptures on which the entire Sanatana Dharma is based, it is based on 2 types of Sahitya or 2 types of literature. One is called Apaurushaya and the other one is called Paurushaya. Apaurushaya means something that always existed and has not been created by anyone. Nobody has created it. That is called Apaurushaya. These are nothing but universal facts. Nobody creates universal facts. So, for example, numbers. Yes, we have called it number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so on. But they are all existing even before they were called 1, 2, 3, 4. The nature already had it embedded in it. The human mind just put a name to it and started to count. So, like this, that is a universal truth. So, Apaurushaya Sahitya are nothing but the Vedas. Vedas are Apaurushaya. This is something that everybody, all the 3 Vedantic schools accept, that Vedas are Apaurushaya. Now, that is the purest form in which one can understand God, one can understand ourselves, and understand the world around us. That is the Vedic root. The other one is called the Paurushaya Sahitya. That means it was created by someone. Some Gnani has created it. That is why we call it Paurushaya. Now, the principle amongst the Paurushaya Sahitya is nothing but the Brahma Sutras. They are very, very occupy the highest place in our entire scriptural system, mainly because they govern the Vedas. That means the Vedas are understood by understanding the Brahma Sutras. Right? So this is the framework that we have. Now, the other part of the Paurushaya Sahitya are the famous Puranas. So, as we know, Sri Veda Vyasa, who is the incarnation of Lord Vishnu himself, Vyasaya Vishnu Rupaya, Vyasa Rupaya Vishnave Visa. That way he has created and he has composed the Ashtadasha Puranas. And one of those Puranas is the Mahabharata. Now, there are different Puranas and they're classified on different bases. We will not go into that detail in this program. Maybe we'll find another forum to do so. But let us slowly start focusing on what is Mahabharata. It is said that when all the other Shastras were put in one side of a balance, and the Mahabharata was placed on the other pan, the Mahabharata outdid all the other Shastra, all the other Puranas. Now, this is a symbolic understanding because Mahabharata has lessons which the Vedas have. So, Sriman Madhwacharya has very clearly outlined that Mahabharata is one of the Panchama Vedas. So, the Vedas are Apaurusheya Sahityas, which are, and the whole Sanatana Dharma is based on that edifice, is lying on a strong foundation of the Vedas. And the Mahabharata, the Mula Ramayana, and Pancharatra are also equivalent to the Vedas. That is why the Mahabharata and the other Puranas, the Satvika Puranas as we call them, are called Panchama Vedas. Right? So that is why the status of Mahabharata is indeed very, very high. And this is one of the greatest learnings that Sriman Madhwacharya gave to the world. Why is this so? Why do we see it? We will see it subsequently. But one of the reasons for this is the fact that Sriman Mahabharata encapsulates the entire spiritual world within it. It has all the other Puranas and the salient aspects of those Mahapuranas also embedded in it. So if one reads the Mahabharata, it is equivalent to reading the Bhagavata, the Ramayana, Harivamsha, and all the other Puranas as well. So it is encyclopedic in nature. Now, Srimad Madhwacharya understood the power of this particular aspect of Mahabharata and wrote his magnum opus called Srimad Mahabharata Tatparya Nirnaya. Different aspects of the Puranas appear to be at loggerheads. Sometimes it might even be opposing to the common man who has a very common and simple understanding of the Puranas. So he wrote Mahabharata Tatparya Nirnaya. That means it is the final decision on what is the true purport of Mahabharata. So Srimad Mahabharata Tatparya Nirnaya is again the magnum opus of Srimad Madhwacharya, which is a commentary on Mahabharata itself. Now, why we are seeing all this is that the Vishnu Sahasranama, which we are here to discuss and understand, is a part of that Mahabharata. So the context is that the Mahabharata is a text of the highest order. It is not just a cataloging of fight between two cousins for a kingdom, but it has lessons that are embedded, which are of the highest spiritual quality that one can imagine. So it is said that Mahabharata Tatparya Nirnayam Samshayachidam. Shri Vyasaraja says that if anybody has any doubts in the spiritual world, he may refer to Srimad Mahabharata Tatparya Nirnaya and you will find an answer in it. That is the profundity of Mahabharata and the Mahabharata Tatparya Nirnaya, which is the commentary on it. Now we know the Mahabharata has different chapters. And one of the chapters which appears after the Yuddha Parvas, that means chapters which are there after the war between the Pandavas and Kauravas is completed, is called Shanti Parva. True to its name, it is something where it is a time for everybody to heal after a deadly war. The Kauravas had 11 Akshauhini army. The Pandavas had 7 Akshauhini army. And 18 Akshauhini armies were destroyed and decimated. What remained were a handful of people. And one of the person who was still alive is none other than Shri Bhishmacharya himself. As we know, the war that is there starts with the Bhishma Parva. That means the first Parva when Bhishmacharya is the chief of the Kaurava army. And we all know Arjuna shoots the arrow, a bed of a series of Maha Astras on Bhishmacharya. Bhishmacharya falls on a bed of arrows, and he has been bleeding for 13 of the 18 days of the war. So by the time the war is over, he has already bled for 13 long days and is still alive. Now, how is he alive? Why is he alive? Is because he is Ichamarani. He had a special boon to be alive, even when till he wished to die. That was a very special boon that he had. So when he was the Ichamarani, he was lying on a bed of arrows. Now, what prompted the Vishnu Sahasranama to be composed is that after Yudhishthira becomes the king, the Chakravarti, he is actually filled with remorse. He feels that he has killed all his ancestors. He has killed his gurus. And because of the war, he not only killed the Kauravas, he also, in the process, so many Pandavas got killed. Not the Pandavas, the Pancha Pandavas, but the Pandavas' army also got wiped out. So many people lost their lives simply because the Pandavas wanted to be kings. That is his understanding. So if you see, there is a lot of similarity between the questions that Arjuna asks Krishna at the start of the war. He has the same set of questions, but the difference is that was before the war, and this is after the war. Now, Krishna sees that the war was fought by the Pandavas for what reason? To rule with dharma, to rule with righteousness. But here is Yudhishthira, who believes that he himself has committed adharma. So even if he rules, it will be a very ineffective rule by him, because he is not convinced that whatever he has done is right. So if one is filled with so many doubts in his mind, how can he be the emperor of a kingdom? He's going to be always depressed. He's going to have a doubt, and he's going to have misgivings in his mind every time he has to make a decision. Now, that's not a great quality for a leader. So therefore, Krishna decides that he's going to take Yudhishthira to meet Bhishma Pitamaha, who is still alive on a bed of arrows. Now, what happens then? So one may say, why take him? He could have given the advice himself. But he realizes there's a difference. The difference is that if he says something to Yudhishthira, Yudhishthira will say, you are saying it because you are my Hitaishi. You're saying it because I'm dear to you. So you'll only say good things about what has happened. So therefore, if he hears what is right from Bhishmacharya, it will have a different impact. Sometimes we do that. When our children don't listen to us, we say, why don't you talk to your uncle? Or let your grandfather speak to you. Or let your teacher speak to you. Or we get someone whom the child trusts to actually advise them. So same thing, it happens in this case as well. Krishna advises Yudhishthira to go and seek Bhishmacharya's advice to, number one, understand whether the Pandavas have done the right thing or not, and also learn from Bhishmacharya about how administration should be carried out. How should governance be done? What is dharma? What is adharma? What is taxation? How much should be taxed? What should be the organization of a kingdom? And he takes him there himself. So all the Pandavas then go and meet Bhishmacharya, who is lying on a bed of arrows. Now Bhishmacharya is delighted to see Lord Krishna and all the Pandavas around him. And when Krishna says that you should advise Yudhishthira, Bhishmacharya says, look, Lord Krishna, who am I to advise Yudhishthira? Who am I to advise the Pandavas? I am such a lowly human being. And on top of that, all my life, I have been with the Kauravas. Every time Duryodhana made a blunder, committed sins, knowingly, unknowingly, wantingly, or unwantedly, I have been a party to this. So, how can I give a blessing or how can I give lessons in Dharma to Yudhishthira? I cannot do that. I don't have the moral standing to do that. That's number one. Number two is that Bhishmacharya is lying on a bed of arrows. So he says, these arrows which have been shot at me have been shot at me by none other than Arjuna. Arjuna is the known warrior and who's the prime archer in the world. He has shot these special astras on me. They're not no ordinary astras as well. So in this environment, and with this kind of a situation where an arrow has poked into every nook and corner of my body, and all the blood has drained out, how will I be able to speak? It is at this time that Krishna then intervenes and says, Bhishmacharya, I will give you the strength. I know you can't give this advice, but I will stand within you and I will empower you. And through you, it'll actually be me who's giving this advice to Yudhishthira. So Krishna gives Arjuna the direct advice during Bhagavad Gita, but in this context, he empowers Bhishmacharya to deliver this. So you see the uniqueness of Sri Vishnu Sahasranama. No other stotra has been composed in this kind of an environment. It is a part of the Panchama Veda, which is Mahabharata. It is Shanti Parva, which is after the war. Every chapter of Mahabharata, with every chapter, the spiritual quality increases. And here is a situation where Bhishmacharya is lying on a bed of arrows and giving advice to Yudhishthira and through him the whole world. Now, this is not the end of why Vishnu Sahasranama is so special. This is actually the beginning of why Vishnu Sahasranama is so special. Now, what is so special about Bhishmacharya? Bhishmacharya is a Ajanma Brahmachari. And at the time of the Mahabharata war, he was all of 800 years old. Somebody with 800 years on this earth. Now, out of 800 years, 425 years of these 800 years, he has spent in the Devaloka. That means he was in the heavens studying from the Devatas. Brihaspatiacharya, the guru of all the Devatas, is his guru. He has learned from Parashurama himself. Again, an incarnation of Lord Vishnu. So imagine, if a child studies in a big university, many of you are from London, or somebody studying in the London School of Economics, or somebody studying in Harvard in the US, we say, my God, my child is studying in such a big university. Imagine Bhishmacharya studied in the heavenly university under the tutelage of Parashurama himself. So he's Parashurama's disciple. And he has learned from Brihaspatiacharya himself in the heavens. He is so educated and so well trained in all aspects of what a Kshatriya should be. So he has learned from the masters. He has lived life and he has seen life for 800 long years in what can be argued as one of the most challenging times. And Bhishmacharya is always at the helm of affairs in deciding what should be done next. That is his position. And on top of that, he has been an Ajan Brahmachari. That is not the end of this. Bhishmacharya did a fantastic thing in his life, which is at the time of the Rajasuya Yagna, which is a special yagna that the Pandavas perform. Yudhishthira and the Pandavas go and ask Bhishmacharya, that we are performing the yagna, and we would like to, do the Agra Puja. That means the first one. Who should be the first one we should pray to? There are so many people who have come to attend this. Everyone is a stalwart. Everybody is an incarnation of the Devatas. The Devatas themselves have come down to witness this. Please advise us on whom we should be praying to first. So with all the humility, Bhishmacharya says to the Pandavas, he says, look, I know I know that you know who to pray first, but you're asking me because I'm the elderly person in the house. So therefore, you've given me this opportunity to say something which you already know. So he says, the person whom you should be doing the Agra Puja is none other than Lord Krishna. By saying this, he has actually given us the essence of all the Shastras, which is Vishnu Paramya. That means the greatness and the supremacy of Lord Vishnu. So as Sarvatanta Satantra, that means he's independent in all forms and he's a Paradevata. He is the supreme in every way. Of course, the episode itself is very long about what he talks about Lord Krishna and why we should be doing it. But that is the essence. So he did that. Again, how did he get to know? How could he make the decision so correctly and so fast? Is because of his profound education and Hari Bhakti. He is one of the greatest devotees of Lord Krishna of his times. So, one question we may get, which is, why do we call Bhishmacharya as Bhishmacharya? He's a Kshatriya. Acharya is a teacher, a guru. Who is a teacher and who is a guru? It is to be somebody who's a Brahmin. So why do we call Bhishma an Acharya? Acharya is a teacher, typically a teacher. So whom has he taught? This is why we call him Acharya, because he gave the lessons on dharma to who? To Yudhishthira. What is the other name of Yudhishthira? Dharmaraja. So imagine he has taught dharma to Dharmaraja himself. That is why we add the word Acharya. Now, this question we will not get in the case of Dronacharya because he's the teacher of the Pandavas and the Kauravas. Now, Kripacharya is the Kulaguru of the Kauravas. So there is no, he is called Acharya for that reason. But why do we call Bhishmacharya for this? It is for this reason that we call him Bhishmacharya, because he gave us some of the most valuable lessons about this, about the Shastras, about administration, about so many aspects. So if time permits, I would request all the viewers to study the Shanti Parva because it has got many aspects to it. So what does make Vishnu Sahasranama so special? Because it was rendered by Lord Krishna himself through Bhishmacharya. And what is the significance of this? This is a shloka on Lord Vishnu by Vishnu himself. He composed it himself and he has also written it himself. Mahabharata is a text which was written by Vedavyasa, of course, written by Ganesha, but dictated and conceived of by Vedavyasa. So it is done by Vishnu. In that, Shri Krishna is the person who is giving this advice through Bhishmacharya. And very importantly, Lord Vishnu is present as Krishna in that spot. We have all heard about the Raghavendra stotra. When Apannacharya, the composer of Raghavendra stotra, recited it, Sri Raghavendra Swamiji from the Brindavana said, Sakshi Haya Syotrahi, Sakshi Haya Syo Atrahi. He himself said it. That means Hayagriva, Lord Hayagriva is a proof and evidence to all that Apannacharya has said, saying that yes, whatever he has told about me in this stotra is actually true, which is a rarity because one may have said so many things, but if the person about whom it is said doesn't accept it, then it has no validity. So you may go to a college and give an application form. The college has to first accept the application form and said, yes, this is a valid application. If the application is not valid, then there's no hope in hell that anybody will be getting a seat in that university or get a job for that matter, right? So like when the moment we apply for a job, we are looking forward to an acceptance by the organization. So this is a stotra on Lord Vishnu, which Lord Krishna sat right there and listened to it. Not only did he empower Bhishmacharya to say, but he also heard it and blessed Bhishmacharya. And he was listening to it with rapt attention. So that is the power of Vishnu Sahasranama. So it is with this background that Vishnu Sahasranama actually makes it very special. I will go into one more aspect and then we will take a pause. I had planned to cover a lot more topics, but we will cover it in the subsequent sessions. So what makes it Vishnu Sahasranama so great, we have seen, is the part that it's a part of Mahabharata. But who brought out these great lessons about Vishnu Sahasranama? It was being treated for many decades and centuries as just another collection. And like any other stotra, it also had its own names of Lord Vishnu, and 1,000 names of Lord Vishnu would make it Sahasranama. Like that, there were so many other Sahasranamas as well. So why Vishnu Sahasranama? So it was up to Srimad Madhwacharya to bring out this greatness. So once Srimad Madhwacharya was on a visit to Kerala, and there he was explaining the meaning of a Veda Sukta. All this is very accurately documented in Sumadhva Vijaya, which is Srimad Madhwacharya's biography. And one of the persons in the audience stood up and said, "Sir, you have given us a meaning. I know of another meaning of the same Veda Sukta. Can I share that?" So Madhwacharya said, "Yes, surely you can do that." Then he said that, "Look, this is the meaning I have learned." Srimad Madhwacharya said, "Yes, that is right." So the other person was a little puzzled. He said, "You have given a certain meaning. I have given a different meaning. How come both are right?" So Madhwacharya says, "No, this is a Veda Sukta. Every Veda Sukta has a minimum of 3 meanings." So which was quite surprising to the people. They think the one Sukta has 3 meanings. He said, "Yes, another name for Vedas is Trayartha. That means there are 3 meanings. So in the name of the Veda itself, it is said that it has 3 meanings." So those people in the audience were quite perplexed. They said Vedas have 3 meanings. He said, "No, this is not the end." Then he recited a quotation from Padma Purana. He said, "Trayartha sarva vedeshu, dashartha sarva bharate, Vishnu Sahasranama api nirantara shatartakam." He says the Vedas have 3 meanings. Mahabharata has 10 meanings. Each shloka of Mahabharata has 10 meanings. And Vishnu Sahasranama, which is a part of Mahabharata, has Nirantara Shatartakam. That means every name of Vishnu has 100 meanings at a minimum. At a minimum. Now, this was something which was completely perplexing to everybody there. They did not realize the profundity of what Srimad Madhwacharya had said. So they said, at the same time, there were some people in the audience who thought that Madhwacharya was just saying something. The quotation may be right, but does Madhwacharya really know the meanings of 100 meanings of every word of Vishnu Sahasranama? So they threw a challenge at Srimad Madhwacharya and they said, "Look, can you please tell us the 100 meanings of Vishnu Sahasranama?" So they were in a very combative mood. Shri Madhwacharya said, "Look, I am going to tell you the meaning, 100 meanings of Vishnu Sahasranama for each word. But after I complete 100, telling you the 100 meanings, I will pause. And you have to tell me all those 100 meanings. You have to play it back to me, how you have understood. Are you up for the challenge?" So they said, "Yes, we are up for the challenge." So Srimad Madhwacharya started. And he started with one name after the other. So let us say he took the first name, Vishwam, and he started giving the meanings one by one. Vishwam means someone who has got the whole world in him. Vishwam means the person who has created Chaturmukha Brahma and Lord Shiva. Vishwam someone who controls the whole world. Vishwam means someone who is Garuda Dhwaja. That means he is the one who rides on the Garuda, and so on. He went on giving one meaning after the meaning, another. After he completed the 30th meaning, the scholars there, the group of scholars had already lost track. They sought an excuse from Srimad Madhwacharya and said, "You are truly great. Yes, you are right. The word Vishwam indeed has got so many meanings. So please excuse us for having challenged you. Asking a question in the right spirit is absolutely fine, but asking a great scholar like Srimad Madhwacharya, a great guru like Madhwacharya, with a sense of suspicion was something which was not right. But in the process, Madhwacharya gave them more lessons. He said it is not just that every name of Vishnu Sahasranama has a minimum of 100 meanings. Every name also connotes one superior quality of Lord Vishnu. So every name has got 100 meanings. Every name has also connotes a specific quality, a superior guna. That's why it is called Yani Namani Gaunani Vikhyatani Mahatmana. Gauna Namas. That means each Nama has got a Gauna, a guna, or a quality, a superior quality which has been associated with it. That was not the end. He said every name also connotes a unique form, Rupa, of Lord Vishnu. So Vishwa has a Rupa, Vishnu has got a Rupa, Vashatkaraha has got another Rupa. Similarly, Vasuprada has another, Shubhanga has another name, Sundaraha has got another name, Anandaha has got another name. So every name in Vishnu Sahasranama has got a specific form associated. So 1,000 names, 1,000 forms, 1,000 qualities, superior qualities of Vishnu are all embedded in it. Each form of Lord Vishnu, which appears in Vishnu Sahasranama, has a corresponding feminine form of Lord Vishnu. It is a feminine form of Lord Vishnu, and we will see that in detail. And lastly, for each form of goddess of Lord Vishnu, there is a corresponding form of Shri Mahalakshmi along with it. So there is a unique name that goddess Lakshmi has. It is called Samana. That means Deshataha Kalatah Chaiva Samana. That means she is always there with Lord Vishnu. Deshataha means at all places, and Kalataha, that means she is present with him at all times. So for each form of Lord Vishnu, there is a corresponding form of Lord Mahalakshmi. So when we recite Shri Vishnu Sahasranama, now you can see how many things are getting packed in it. It may look like a collection of 1,000 names of Lord Vishnu. And many people might even ask, why don't I just pick up one name after the other in random order and just recite it? No. Vishnu Sahasranama, the way it is said, the circumstances in which it is said, the way it is expounding the qualities of Lord Vishnu is making it a very, very unique stotra indeed in the world. So, we are, I think, running out of time, and we will would like to take a few questions if there are, but we are still not done with what is the uniqueness and greatness of Sri Vishnu Sahasranama. In the subsequent sessions that we will have, we will also look at aspects of Vishnu Sahasranama and the Vedas, and one specific aspect of Vedas, which is Sri Brihati Sahasra. Brihati Sahasra is a very, very important part of the Vedas, of Rig Veda specifically, and Vishnu Sahasranama and the Brihati Sahasra are very closely connected concepts. We will see that in detail about how they are interlinked and how the Brihati Sahasra, which has got 72,000 lines, are connected to the different nadis in our body, and why Vishnu Sahasranama, and how does Vishnu Sahasranama give us the curative power of healing, which is described in detail, which we will see on all the greatness. So that is the background of Sri Vishnu Sahasranama. Of course, as I said, we have only started there. There are many aspects it is there. And I will just end today's session with one of the questions that Yudhishthira asks, which is Ko dharma sarva dharmanam dharmo dikatamo mataha kim japan muchyate jantuhu janma samsara bandhana. What a profound question this is. I think this is a question that we all have in our mind. Ko dharma sarva dharmanam. Which dharma should I follow? What is that I should do? Ko dharma sarva dharmanam dharmo digatamo mata kim japan muchyate jantuhu janma samsara bandhana. How do I overcome this constant cycle of life and death? Because frankly, being born in the human form itself is something which leads to a lot of sorrow. We are stuck in this world which has got sorrow in it embedded. Apart from some waves of joy that we may get once in a while. So if one has to come out of this cycle and be in that state of bliss, what should one do? That is the question that Dharma Raja is asking. I'm deliberately calling him Dharma Raja because the question that he asks is, O Dharma Sarva Dharmanam. What is the Dharma which is the greatest to be followed? Imagine Yudhishthira, Dharma Raja himself has the question about Dharma. And so it's a very profound question coming from an expert of Dharma himself. And the answer to that Bhishmacharya gives forms the crux of the Vishnu Sahasranama stotra itself. So we will see all this in detail in the subsequent sessions that we have planned. So with that, I will take a pause and take questions which might have come from this presentation. And I'll stop sharing this presentation. I will share this presentation as a PDF later on, which if anybody is interested, we could have a look at it. So
Thank
back
you,
to you,
Sunder.
Hari. Yes.
Yes, thank you, Sunder. And if anybody wants to ask any questions, please come out of the mute and then feel free to ask any questions, please. You're currently everybody are on mute, but please come out of mute and then you can ask any questions. So I have a question which has come in the background, Sundar, and the question is, how can reciting the Vishnu Sahasranama influence one's spiritual growth and daily life practices?
Yeah, the thing is, what reciting the Vishnu Sahasranama, and this we will see in detail when we talk about the methods of meditation, is that in our Shastras, the importance of Harinama Smarane has been told very clearly in the Kali Yuga. So different yugas, as we know, have different rules on how dharma has to be performed. So in the earlier yugas, it was mandated that one should perform the homas, yagnas, do dhyana for thousands of years. We keep reading in our Puranas that, there were sages who prayed to God for 10,000 years. Forget about sages, even the demons, they also, used to pray for so long. Which brings us to the question that in the Kali Yuga, the sadhana becomes very difficult. Anything but one wants to do is fraught with danger because there will be mistakes committed while performing the dharmakarya itself. And our body does not have the spiritual strength to be able to perform these things the manner in which they have been ordained. So in that atmosphere, what is important is to recite Harinama Smarane. That means Harinama has to be recited again and again. And that is the only way one can come out of this continuous cycle of death and birth. Now, the thing is, one may say, okay, I don't know. I mean, I can't understand such things about coming out of the cycle. I want to make my daily life better first. I want to have peace. I want to be energized. I do not want to have worries. And, I want to lead a happy life with me and with my people, with my friends and everything. I want to win. I want to be a winner in whatever I do. And I want to become a good human being. If these are some of the goals, what one needs is therefore God's gift and God's blessings And that is something that comes as one of the things that Vishnu Sahasranama gives as a fruit, because it has got a very close connection with the Vedas. The lessons of the Vedas come through in a very simple form that everybody can recite through the Vishnu Sahasranama. So chanting Vishnu Sahasranama is guaranteed to give us those fruits where we can live, with which we can live our life happily. So I'm glad that you asked this question, Sherry. We had planned, as you know, I work with Ataha, and we actually had conducted sessions on Vishnu Sahasranama during COVID time. We held several sessions. One of them is available on YouTube as well. And what we learned was that several people who were hospitalized at that time and were on their deathbed virtually, they called us and said, look, you are talking about Vishnu Sahasranama. I cannot recite all of that because I'm so weak. What do we do? That time we said that they should just listen to the Vishnu Sahasranama. The big change that happened is that I'm so glad that many of them today I have completely recovered and are living a very, very happy life. So for any problem that we face, we need to go to somebody who has got that infinite capability to help us. There is no point in asking somebody who is facing problems himself. And the only person who does not have any problems in life is Lord Vishnu, because he is Ananda in the true sense. So therefore, I think what is important here is that any problem, that is the final thing that we will see as the fruits, any problem anybody faces, any challenge that anybody is facing, any goal that one wants to reach, Vishnu Sahasranama recitation is proven to give them those results, because it is a prayer on Lord Vishnu, who is the Supreme Lord, who has got all the auspicious and great qualities, and who has no doshas, who has no drawbacks and negatives. Because the moment we hear about someone who has got a lot of attributes, the immediate question is, okay, what is wrong? What are his negatives? He has no negatives. He has all the positives. He's got all the capability and the strength to be able to help people. That's a very important thing, because there may be people who want to help you, but they cannot help you. Like we hear in the Bhagavata, Gajendra was stuck. He could not be saved by anybody. All his relatives wanted to help, but they couldn't. This is what happens with us. There are many people who are well-wishers, but they still can't help. So therefore, recitation of Sri Vishnu Sahasranama will give us that strength to be able to overcome all our challenges, maintain a very positive environment at home, and help us get all our success. So that's in short the answer.
Thank you, Sundar. We have four more questions, but I'll let Raki, who has raised her hand, to ask her question before we move on to the next questions. Raki ji.
Namaskara. Thank you, Sri Harivre. Uh, Thank you, Sundarji, for such a wonderful session. I was looking forward for the Vishnu Sahasranama session so much, and Vishnu only enabled it. My question is, I know, I mean, I have been experiencing Vishnu Sahasranama miracles since 2018. But generally, whenever my kids fall sick, I chant Vishnu Sahasranama whenever they have jwara or something or the other. Apart from medicines, this is also one thing. But is there any sankalpa that I should make before chanting, especially when they are not well? Or what time is the best time? Because when they are not well, it's usually in the evening or night. And I generally chant, but they say that only after knowing the meaning, you should chant. When I generally know the meaning, because you said 100, each word has hundreds of meanings. So it's impossible for humans like me to know 100 meanings. So does it really make an impact that I should know the meaning and then chant, or I would like to know more about that.
Yes. So first, let me give you a slightly generic answer and then a specific answer. The Shastras always mandate that whichever shloka that we are reciting, we should try and understand the meaning. Even if it is, and every part of the shloka, every shloka has got many meanings. So it's not possible for us to understand the deepest meaning, but at least a simple meaning is something that we should know, because the moment we know that, the value that we place to that increases. So, for example, a doctor says that, look, you take this medicine after food. We may say, okay, why don't I take it before food? But if the doctor tells you why you should take it after food, you have a sense of more commitment to that rule.
Yes, true.
So knowing the meaning is generally recommended. However, the challenge is this, that there are moments by which you cannot go into the spiritual depth.
Yeah.
But Vishnu, let us say your child is not keeping well. That is not the time for you to contemplate so much on every meaning and all that. You're doing it to cure that immediate situation.
Yes.
Let's take the same example of a medicine. If you know the ingredients, it is good. But if you don't know the ingredients and take the medicine, it still works.
Yeah.
Everybody who takes a medicine doesn't know what the ingredients. Everybody uses a laptop, does not know what all is there inside a laptop. They just use it. But it still works. Both, I think. But the person who knows it will use it in a better way and so on.
Sure. The purpose, what we do
Yeah,
for it works. Okay. Yeah.
So it is good. Nobody can remember 100 meanings for all 1,000 names. So that is 100,000 meanings is humanly impossible. Srimad Madhwacharya did it as a demonstration. And only sadhakas like him and Raghavendra Swamiji, Madhwacharya, they can do it because they have all that playing. And Harikatamrita Sara, which is a composition by Sri Jagannatha Dasa, deliberately see him using many of these Vishnu Sahasranama names in it. He has taken this from Madhwacharya himself. If you see, we're going to discuss this. He has explained these meanings in the Sarvamoola Granthas as well.
Okay.
The meaning. Now, what I would suggest is that when your mind is free, that time you should make an attempt to at least learn one meaning of every name. And try.
Which is the best book to refer, Sundarji?
I will send it at the end of the 3 sessions. I will send it to you. You can. I will give you my contacts also. You can write to me. I will send it so that if for people who know Kannada, don't know Kannada, it will ensure that. And I'm glad you prompted this, because one of the announcements I was to make today was that Sri Venkateshwara Bhakti channel, which is the television channel for Tirumala Tirupati Devasthanams, they are shortly going to present a program where they have asked me to record the different meanings of Vishnu Sahasranama, each name, about a few meanings, maybe 5 or 6, and have them presented in English. That will be a long series, almost 300 episodes, which we get. Now, if the benefit is that if you know more meanings of the same word, at least one meaning will strike you at that point in time. As a student, if you have read many books, at least something you will be remembering at the time of the examination. So it is like something like that. But whether you know the meaning, don't know the meaning, Vishnu Sahasranama works. But what is important is that bhakti and that faith. That this will work. It will work.
That's true.
People tell like that about medicines itself, right? If you have faith that it will going to work, it will work. If you take it with the belief, I don't know whether this is going to work or not, it will not work. So I wish all very good health. So it is one of the Phalashruti of Vishnu Sahasranama says that Rogartha Muchyate Roga Muchyate. So Roga, it is inherent. And the other thing is it is something which cleanses our nadis. The people who recite it and the people who listen to it also. So your children may not know how to recite it, but if they're listening to it, it does Nadi Shuddhikarana, which is the genesis of all the diseases we have. So this is not me saying it, it is Ayurveda which says this. So one of the Dwarahara stotras recommended by Sushruta Samhita is Vishnu Sahasranama.
Yes,
so they say if the fever is high, recite it. If it goes even higher, you give this medicine. If it goes even higher, you use this medicine. Finally, nothing works, you recite Vishnu Sahasranama.
Yes, that is what I do. And they start sweating immediately and they sleep. So that is.
Yes.
Thank you, Rakiji.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
So there is two more questions, Sundar. So one is, how about chanting the Hare Krishna mantra compared to Vishnu Sahasranama? Are they similar or is it different?
So both Hare Rama, Hare Krishna is a stotra which appears in the Bhagavata, which is again Puranokta. So it has got a very, very special space. The Vishnu Sahasranama, as I have told you, is a stotra which is a part of the Mahabharata and has got a very, very special place even in the Mahabharata. So after this Vishnu Sahasranama, in the Shanti Parva, there is something called Bhishma Stavaraja, which is again a very elaborate prayer on Lord Vishnu by Bhishmacharya himself. However, the Vishnu Sahasranama is graded as the number one stotra, is the most superior stotras because of some reasons we have seen today and some reasons we will see next time about what is the connection between Mahabharata and Vishnu Sahasranama and Brihati Sahasranama. So it is a stotra which has been derived from the Vedas. So it has got a Vedic quality to it. So therefore, the Hare Rama, Hare Krishna mantra is indeed very special, but Vishnu Sahasranama is the number one mantra amongst all of them. There are other Sahasranamas as well. There is Vasudeva Sahasranama, Narasimha Sahasranama, Lakshmi Narasimha Sahasranama, Rama Sahasranama. They are all Sahasranamas of Vishnu himself. But Madhwacharya has very clearly said that the space of Vishnu Sahasranama is indeed very, very special. We will see those two shlokas by Madhwacharya in our next session.
Thank you. And one last question for the day is, can women recite Vishnu Sahasranama? There is a conception women should not recite this, but they feel everyone should recite, as MS Amma herself has sung the iconic version of it.
Yes. So the answer is very clear that yes, women can, it's not just can, should recite. So everybody should recite it. Parama Pujya Shri Vishwesha Tirtha Swamiji has given an elaborate clarification in one of the Ataha workshop for the youth. He specifically took up this topic and he has clarified that women can and should be reciting it. Yes, there is a misconception and there is also a question of practice. Some people quote that there is no practice actively that is seen in recitation of Vishnu Sahasranama. That is not something that is mandated by the Shastras, because if you look at Mahabharata was basically composed by Sri Vedavyasa to educate people who did not have access or who could not learn the Vedas. And one of the categories is the women. They do not study the Vedas. So how does one learn that? It is through Mahabharata. Now, if parts of Mahabharata themselves are again excluded, then it defeats the purpose for which Mahabharata was written. So it is very clear. He has clarification has come from Shri Vishwesha Tirtha himself, our beloved Pejawar Swamiji. So no doubts in our mind. Everybody should be able to recite it.
Thank you, Sundar. I think we are just on time. And once again, happy Yugadi to all of you. Thank you, Sundar, for taking the time this evening. And we'll continue the session next Sunday at 5 p.m. UK time. Hare Srinivasa.
Yeah, thanks, Srihari, for having me over. So we just got, as I said, we just got started now. I think some of you might have expected that we'll get into deeper aspects in this session itself. But as you saw, the understanding the background is very important to understand the profoundness of the stotras. So look forward to having you in the next session, and wish you a very, very happy Yugadi in Vishwavasunama Samvatsara. May God give everyone all the happiness, prosperity, health, as well as progress in their dharmic field as well.
Thank you.
Hare
Hare
Srinivasa.
Srinivasa.
Thank you so much, Sundar.